Hey guys, so today we're going to multiply and divide by powers of 10. So if I had an example like this, 45,672 times 10 squared. Okay, to figure this out, first I would figure out what 10 squared was. Well, 10 squared equals 10 times 10, right? 10 squared. 10 times itself 2 times. And 10 times 10 is 100, right? So I would have to multiply 45,672 times 100. Okay, so I would multiply it all out, and it would become 4,567,200. Okay, but there's another way to do this. So say I had this example. Now this example wasn't too hard because it's not too hard to multiply by 100. But what if I had this example? Now we have 10 to the 5th power. So I would have to go 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 times 10. And I'd have to figure out what that was and then multiply that by 45,786. That could take me quite a long time. But there's actually a really easy way. So what you do is first of all, you want to figure out, well, what am I going to do? Am I going to be expanding the number or making the number smaller? Okay, so we're multiplying, which means we're making multiples of something. So we're expanding the number. So I'm going to rewrite this number. Okay, don't worry about the comma for now. And then the 10 is going to tell us how many zeros to add to that number. So the zeros we're going to be adding to this number are 5. So I'm going to add 5 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's your answer. So after every 3 digits, you put a comma. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, and that's your answer. So if I went and I tried to multiply this out, 45,786 times 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 times 10, I would get this number. Or we can use that little trick I just did. So all you do is you rewrite the number, and if you're multiplying, you're going to add the zeros to the end, and the exponent's going to tell you how many zeros to add. So what about if we're dividing? What do we do if we're dividing? Well, let's take a look. Find a good example here. 270,123 divided by 10 to the 3rd power. Okay. All right. So let's see. We're not expanding, right, anymore. But what we're going to do is we're sectioning, right? We're making groups, right? Because we're dividing. So we're not going to actually make multiples like we did. So think about it. What are we doing to this number if we're going to make groups? We're not going to make it bigger, right? Because we're grouping it. We're sectioning it out. So instead of adding a bunch of zeros, what do you think we're going to be doing? I'll give you a second to think about it. I hope you said we're probably going to be removing zeros. So we're going to do the same thing we did before. We're going to rewrite this number. Make sure you copy down the right amount of zeros because sometimes those zeros can be confusing, especially if you're somebody who has some visual issues like I do. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Now divided by 10 to the 3rd power. So this 10 is going to tell us how many zeros to remove. How many zeros will we be removing? Well, we are going to be removing 3 zeros. So 1, 2, 3. So my answer is whatever's left over. 7,270. Okay, so it's pretty easy. So when you're multiplying by powers of 10, you add the zeros. When you're dividing by powers of 10, you remove the zeros. This trick only works when you're multiplying or dividing by powers of 10. It wouldn't work for like 20 or 40. Okay, only works for powers of 10. All right, good luck. Bye-bye.